was a man named Daniel. Daniel was not lazy. He was not careless. He was not a failure. But he had one quiet habit. A habit so small, so invisible, that no one ever noticed it. Daniel always said, "Not now, maybe later." When he was 22, he had a dream. He wanted to start his own business. He had ideas written in a notebook. Pages filled with plans, sketches, and late-night thoughts. But every time he looked at them, he would smile, close the notebook, and whisper, "I still have time." So he took a job instead. "Just for now," he said. "I'll start when I'm ready." Days passed. Work was tiring. Life was busy. There were bills, responsibilities, expectations. Each night, he told himself, "Tomorrow I'll begin." But tomorrow never came. At 25, Daniel saw his friend Lucas. Lucas had started something small, a tiny online shop. Nothing special at first. Daniel laughed and said, "Let me know when you become rich." Lucas didn't laugh. He just said, "I already started." Daniel went home that night, looked at his notebook, and again closed it. "I still have time." Years passed. At 28, Daniel was promoted. Better salary. More comfort. Less time. His dream was still there, but quieter now. At 30, he stopped talking about it. Not because he didn't want it anymore, but because saying it out loud made him uncomfortable. One evening, Daniel attended a reunion. Old classmates gathered. Stories were shared. Achievements were celebrated. Lucas was there, not with a small shop anymore, but with a growing company. Employees. Investors. A life Daniel once imagined for himself. People surrounded Lucas. They admired him. Daniel stood in the corner, holding a drink, forcing a smile. Someone asked him, "So Daniel, what have you been working on all these years?" He paused. He had no answer. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. And for the first time in years, he opened his notebook again. The pages were old. The ink had faded. The ideas still alive. But something felt different. This time, he didn't feel excited. He felt a regret, a deep, heavy regret. He whispered to himself, "If I had started at 22, where would I be now?" Silence answered him. Days turned into weeks, and something strange began to happen. Daniel started noticing time, not in hours or minutes, but in moments lost. He saw younger people taking risks, starting things, failing, but moving. He saw opportunities pass him by. Not because he wasn't capable, but because he wasn't ready. Or at least, that's what he kept telling himself. One morning, on his way to work, Daniel saw an old man sitting on a bench. The man looked calm, peaceful. Daniel sat beside him. After a while, the old man spoke. "You look like someone who's waiting." Daniel was surprised. "How did you know?" The old man smiled. "Because I used to be like you." Daniel leaned closer. "I spent my whole life waiting," the man continued. "Waiting for the right moment, the right plan. The right confidence." "And did it come?" Daniel asked. The old man shook his head slowly. "No. It never came." A long silence followed. Then the old man said something Daniel would never forget. "You don't lose your dreams in one day. You lose them slowly. Every time you choose to wait." Daniel felt something break inside him. That evening, he went home. He didn't turn on the TV. He didn't scroll his phone. He didn't say tomorrow. He opened the notebook. But this time, He didn't close it. He picked up a pen. And for the first time in his life, he didn't plan. He acted. The next day, he made a call. The day after, he built something small. The week after, he launched something imperfect. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't even ready. But it was real. Days passed. Then, weeks, then months. And something changed. Not just in his life, but inside him. He stopped saying, "I still have time." Instead, he said, "I start now." He stopped waiting for confidence. And found it in action. He stopped fearing failure and learned from it. 1 year later, Daniel wasn't a millionaire. He wasn't famous, but he was no longer stuck. And for the first time in his life, he felt alive. One evening, he looked at his old notebook. And this time, he didn't feel regret. He smiled because he finally understood something most people realize too late. You don't need more time. You need to stop waiting. Because the truth is, time is not waiting for you. It never did. And it never will. So if there is something you want to do, something you keep pushing to tomorrow, this is your moment. Not next week. Not next year. Now. Because one day, you will either say, "I'm glad I started," or "I wish I had." The choice is still yours. For now.